It's an absolute perfect day to be working on the siding. We've got 2 more days, hopefully, of really good weather, and then we've got 4 days of pretty significant snow, it looks like. It's so warm up here, everything's melting. You can see the driveway, the parking area up here. It's even the ice is going away, which now is turning to mud a little bit, which seems to be the plague. Either it's mud or snow, and I would rather deal with snow than mud. But I've got basically today and tomorrow to get the siding finished. I think I can get it mostly finished today. I want this pile of wood to be gone and away from, basically where it's sitting, and to be on the house and finished. I recently learned about a new Gallup poll where less than 13% of Americans are actually passionate about their jobs. The irony is the next 2 nights after reading that poll, I had nightmares about the last job that I had, which was nearly 15 years ago. When I was 26 years old, I had the opportunity to step into management, and I had to fire the one person that taught me a lot about the industry and the trade. Because I was fairly young, I'd convinced myself that this was a job I needed to take. About 5 years ago, I reached out to that one-time friend that I had to ultimately fire and tried to have lunch with him, thinking we could somehow patch things up. And I quickly learned that he wasn't interested, and he still had some hard feelings towards me. It's been 15 years since I've had to work for somebody. And while I was never passionate about being a plumber, I was good at it. And it paid the bills. And it kept my wife home with the kids. When we started having kids at a fairly young age, we decided that it was more important for my wife to stay home with these kids than it was for us to have a big, beautiful home or nice cars, and that we felt that in time those things may come. Now, this idea about being passionate about what you do, I'm not sure where that comes into play. I do think that being good at a trade or good at a skill that you have can be fulfilling. But I was never a very good employee. I didn't like being told what to do. I think myself and Cedar have decided that the lower 3 feet versus 4 feet looked better. Still haven't decided if we're doing the stone or the 10. I'm going to try the 10. I think back where I'm going to put the back door there under that porch, I may do a little area, just frame that little area out in the 10 to see if we like it as much as we think we will, and that'll help us decide if it's the 10 or the stucco stone. Naturally, the stucco stone is quite a bit more expensive. I already have the 10, but I want it to look right and look good. So I'm going to get back at it with the siding and get finished up before it gets too muddy and before the weather really changes. After working in that management position for 3.5 years, the owner of the company turned the business over to his son. And one morning, the son got after one of my guys for something that I thought was pretty insignificant. And I walked in and set my keys and my credit card and my cell phone on his desk. I cleaned out my office and I called my father-in-law to come and give me a ride home. I didn't even have a truck. My wife was pregnant with our third child. We had health insurance. We were in the middle of a giant remodel on our house. We had guaranteed money every Friday. But I was trapped. I hated the stress of that job. It was not fulfilling. There was nothing for me to be passionate about. I watched the owner of that company become very wealthy over his decisions, and I felt that I wanted to take that same risk. When my father-in-law dropped me off at home that day, my wife had already learned that I'd quit my job. The home phone was ringing with people asking me what I was going to do. I had contractors calling, telling me that if I could put the guys together, they would give me the existing contracts. I had employees calling saying they would go with me wherever I went. Somewhere in the middle of this, I walked into our master bedroom, and my wife was face down in the pillow sobbing. She was terrified. All of the security we once had was gone. A few days later, myself and my wife went down to my former office to sign my letter of resignation and to tell the owners of the company goodbye. The owner's wife had become good friends with my wife, Cedar, and they hugged and they cried. And the owner's wife said to my wife, "What in the world are you guys going to do? How in the world are you guys going to make it?" And Cedar looked at the owner's wife and smiled and said we would be fine. She said, "Heath knows what he's doing." I was 29 years old, and whether or not I knew what I was doing, I knew I had a skill that people would pay for. A few years later, we had developed our own company into a successful company, and the recessions of 2008 caused us to reevaluate again. That was the second time in my professional life I began to wonder if I should have stayed in college. The end result is I began exploring other ways to make money, and I found something else I was good at. The long story short is I'm passionate about hard work. I'm passionate about letting the world determine how much an hour of my time is worth instead of letting some employer determine how much an hour of my time is worth. I tell my kids it's important to find something that you're passionate about, but it's also super important that you work. I don't care what my kids do for a living, and I don't know if in the whole grand scheme of things if it really matters. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know what the dream job is. I know it can be scary, taking risks like that. Oftentimes a plan A is needed while the plan B is being developed. But it seems like people have even given up on the plan B. It's important to be passionate about something. It's important to do something that's fulfilling. I wish there was a quick and easy way for all of us to figure out where this passion should be directed. But the bottom line is if we don't take chances, if we don't take risks, we never know. All right, I'm basically done with the siding on the addition. I still have to do the siding under the, or around the back porch and where the window. I haven't installed the window here yet, and the window is not going to show up for another 10 days. I still need to do the batten strips up on top, but the good news is I am fairly confident I will have more than enough lumber to get the job done. I've still got about I don't know, probably 15 or 20 pieces of the 1x12, and this is the good stuff. This is the 18 footers, 16s and 18 footers, even 20 footers in there. So I will have plenty of I'll have plenty of wood. This is the good news. The other good news is, as it's been really warm today, you can see the gravel that I was hoping would prevent the mud. When it gets really warm like this, the mud becomes the biggest issue. Now, everywhere that I have this pit run gravel, I don't have any mud issues. Around the house where I haven't done anything yet, I'm up to my knees in mud. And so the pit run's holding up. It's not just getting pushed right into the soil. At some point it will, which is what I want it to do. But for as inexpensive as this stuff is, I'll probably put a couple more loads on this come spring and summer. But anyway, one more good day of working tomorrow, and then the weather just goes to heck in a handbag. The good news is I should be able to bring the kids up here and have some fun sledding on Christmas. It looks like we got 4 days of snow, and who knows how much snow that could turn into. So anyway, I want to just finish up this last little bit of stuff with the siding and then just get laser focused. I don't know why I have a hard time. I've had a couple of days this week I probably could have worked inside, but I have a hard time focusing on the electrical and the plumbing when I just want to get this last little bit of stuff done. Obviously, we decided to go with the 3 foot. You can see on the addition, we're going to do the 3 foot. It's actually a little bit more than 3 foot. It's about 40 inches, I think. Of the whatever we do, the siding, I want to try to make that siding work. If I can make it look cool, I'm going to trim it out with some wood. If I can make it look like it was genuinely designed to be there versus just slapped up there because I had it, then I'm going to make it work. I think right under the porch there, I'm going to go ahead and do a sample piece for Cedar and bring her up here and see if she really likes it. But I love the idea of just continuing to implement the corrugated tin in our place here. I think it fits in perfect. It's rustic. It's just kind of what we want to have. So anyway,